So this is now an example of PV layouting with the PVdesigner3D software for an industrial type of building. The building here is the building of our industrial partner, production partner. So I'm selecting the various buildings that are related to that address. When I'm happy with the building selection, I move to the module placement section. I can, for the optimizing the photorealistic renderings of the buildings, play with the coverage of the roofs. I can also have the orthophoto, so the Google photo applied over the roofs of the 3D structures. I can reproduce very easily obstacles like skylights here, positioning them to reproduce exactly the roof with all the obstacles as they exist in reality. It's easy to move them, to edit the dimensions, to clone them, to reproduce them, to rapidly recreate all the obstacles on a roof. So I could do this, of course, with all obstacles. For the example, I do it just with 2 skylights here. Then when I'm done, I'm adding the modules. Here, the BAPV system, you see with one click you have it. Remove it here. I'm removing the snow guard, which is not needed. So it's using the maximum surface of the roof. And yes, it's like for a residential roof, it's very fast and easy to add modules on different buildings, one by one, and having, of course, the detailed yield values and power and number of modules, etc. for each roof. Here I'm covering everything regardless of the obstacles. Of course, I could take the time to reproduce all the obstacles, but as you've seen, it's quite fast. If I want to reproduce exactly the reality of the building, this is for a quick overview of what would be the yield for a building, for instance. If I just want to have an overview for the client to rapidly give him some idea of what's the total peak power that could be installed on his roof. Since it's real 3D, what we can do is play with the engine that reproduces the sunlight. So we can play with the date of the year and play with the daytime to see what is the shading on the roofs, and that's of course very useful for planners when they are checking if there are any parts of the roof that require attention for the inverter strings and or that would just be ignored because there's too much shading. As I said, I have the yield, the number of modules, yield and peak power for each roof, but I can also have the overview of the total project. So here within 2 minutes we have made the layout for a 2.5 megawatt PV plant. When I'm happy with the layouting, I can then generate some views for the rendering, for a sales brochure of the project to promote the project, and playing with, of course, the landscape, because we are reproducing the real landscape also in 3D. Then I'm making the inverter dimensioning, microinverters or optimizers or string and central inverters, and finally I generate the item lists that the software will push to the shopping cart of a partner distributor where the client can order the material.